happening, everybody? Back working on the car here some more. 2 weeks out, we're heading out of town and going all the way across country. So time's getting close. And a while back, I redid as you can see right there. You see the rear axle. I pulled it out. Nothing's wrong with it, aside from a small little leak out of the housing that I wanted to reseal up. But while I was in there, I wanted to check and make sure that nothing funny's going on with the ring and the pinion gear contact. Make sure that there's no irregular wear patterns or scoring on the gear faces or the tooth faces. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go through, check that, and I got some different type of silicone. I'm gonna try ultra gray. Now it's more for like rigid, high vibration applications. So I'm gonna try that with a gasket as well. I know you're not supposed to put silicone and gaskets together, but whatever. I'm gonna do it. So yeah, so we're gonna check out that ring and the pinion contact, make sure there's no irregular scoring going on, and then we're going to check the bushing out at the end of the drive shaft by the U-joint. Make sure everything's good with it, and yeah, put it all back together. Just a little peace of mind. It's been a while. You know, we put some miles on it. I want to make sure that everything's good to go with it. And so here we go. Let's get to it. Okay, so basically, in here now, what I'm looking for is I'm just looking at the teeth, and let's see. I don't know if you can see right there. So I mean, you know, everything you put in is gonna have some sort of scratch in the gear. So I mean, don't panic if you see this, but on the surface of the tooth right here, I'm trying to point and look here, but so we're not falling off the ends. Our contact isn't falling off of the end of the tooth, and it's not coming off of the top, and it's not too far into the valley in between the tooth there. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Yeah, as you can see, like down in there, we have still a centralized contact pattern. I don't know if you can see that bright part at the top of the tooth, the part of the tooth that's closest to us. There's like a bright section right below that bolt, and so like that's still shiny, untouched metal, and we're not too far down into the valley, and we're not coming off of the ends of the tooth. So that's kind of what you're looking for. You're trying to look for a centralized contact pattern, and all of our wire ties are still on, and you can grab the end of the axle shaft here, and you don't want to be able to push in or out. You don't want to have any slop in and out there, and still want to be able to turn everything pretty free there. So there's no in and out play. There's no irregular wearing. There's no major metal flakes in there. There's just a little bit of brass dust, I guess you could say, but everything is looking pretty good. I feel pretty confident. And now I'm going to take the drive shaft tube off. I'm going to take this whole assembly off and just inspect the bushing up at the top here, and I'm going to inspect here, check the preload on the tapered bearing there, make sure that it has a little bit of preload on it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start doing that. Okay, so if you remember from past videos, some of my first videos, I was this is the drive shaft right here, and as you can see, this is the tapered pinion bearing upgrade kit. So what it does is it takes all the thrust and contains it all down here at the end, as compared to up at the top, the bushing in the top of the tube there. from the factory, which, you know, nothing's wrong with that. I mean, over the years, it's sure proven itself. But this definitely, you know, I like it a lot better. So um, basically, you have to preload the tapered bearing. This end has a tapered roller bearing inside there, as you can see, and this end just has a straight roller bearing inside the back there behind the shaft collar. But anyway, so what you need to do is you have to preload this bearing. In other words, you don't want this thing to move forward or backwards, but you also don't want it oh, look at that. Oh, never mind. The neighbor kid had his RC plane out. But so back to this. So you want it so that it doesn't move back and forth, but you also don't want it so tight that you can't spin it free. See, like that spins pretty free. And oh yeah, look at that. There it is. Look at it. Cars are stopping. Huh. But anyway, uh, so what you would do is normally you would tighten the shaft collar down right here. You would tighten it down enough to where you can tap it with a hammer right here, but it would not back off, and it would hold its position. So I have no movement right now, as you can see right here. There's no movement, and I have a nice free movement, and it's still in the same spot as where I left it. As you can see, I put a little grind right here because what was going on is the Allen head of this bolt was rubbing on the was rubbing around the inside of my tube here when I was putting it together back in, I think it was April maybe, but so I had actually ground that down, so that's still where it's at. Another thing I'm going to note here is, man, this drive shaft right here, it got really rusty because it's just hanging out inside the tube, so there's no oil or grease or anything getting to it, which it never did before. So I'm gonna maybe just hit this with a little bit of fine sandpaper, put a nice light coat of grease on there, just to kind of, I don't know, not that it really matters, but I just want to do it. Then up here, I'll check my surface where my bushing is riding at. Just make sure that there's no gouges or anything in there. My U-joint, it still sits on the shaft right here on the square part. It still sits on there pretty free of any play. And I mean, this is a brand new drive shaft, so not too much going on there. And you take a look down inside here, and the bushing inside there, it's not cracked or broken or in any spots. So yeah, I mean, everything's looking pretty good in there. The only thing I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna just hit this with a little bit of light fine sandpaper, knock the big rust off, and put some grease on there, just, I don't know, for what it's worth. And then all I gotta do is seal it back up, throw it all back together now. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with how everything worked out on the rear end. So all I gotta do now is put everything back together, and this time I'm gonna use this ultra gray. This is stuff that I use at work on trucks and stuff. So on things that have a lot of high torque going to them, high vibration, and things that I want, I guess, not to leak. But anyway, so yeah, because it's more of a rigid application, and there's a lot of torque going on back there, so we'll just go ahead and give that stuff a try. The rear axle was not pouring oil out of it, but it had a little spot under it, so we'll try to seal it up as nice as we can. But yeah, so it's time to throw everything back together.